Okay. So for this episode, let's talk about the gaze of the movie and about the looks of Arjun and Kabir, like basically of Vijay Deverakonda and Shahid Kapoor, which are handsome men. So anyway, I think one of the things I studied was film studies in college, and in film studies, one of the introductory things that they will show, like one of the foundational texts in cinema studies is the male gaze by this film study scholar Laura Malvis, who basically wrote that a lot of the movies at her time, I don't remember that, I think it was 60s or some shit before 2000, in one of the decades, she wrote this essay about like, actually let's fact check when Laura was. Okay, yeah, before 2000 she had introduced the idea of male gaze. Okay. 1973 she wrote an essay जिसमें it's like she introduced the term male gaze and what the concept is, and the concept is in a lot of contemporary movies she was saying she finds that scenes or the way the camera operates is really showing the world as a man sees it, as like one of the main parts of that being women are shown as these like very sexy people who are around a man's life, and then they're shown in a way ki you can really look at them as these beautiful objects of desire. That's what she said in her essay 1973. And so that is generally has become a framework of thinking about movies, is like, what is the gaze that this movie is showing? Is it kind of showing a man's point of view or a woman's point of view? And if you apply that to Bollywood, you'll see that a lot of movies are from the male gaze. And I think even as recent as something like Jug Jug Jio or something, I don't know about Jug Jug Jio because that objectifies both men and women. I think it's not just objectifying women, it objectifies both men and women. But in a lot of Bollywood movies, like say Welcome or some shit, like where any movie just may item song, like that song is fully like a male gaze. Literally औरतों को ऐसे देख रहे हो, and you don't have male item numbers like that. So it's definitely male gaze. So I think when you apply that framework to this movie, I think very interesting things come up, because I think that this movie does not objectify either men or women, which is already like a cool thing, considering a lot of Bollywood films at least objectify one gender, if not both. So I don't think it objectifies at all. Second of all, I think in some aspects, I felt like there was a female gaze, as if you were really gazing at this self-destructive, handsome guy who's actually very attractive because he's so passionate about his love for this woman. But he's imperfect, and the woman can see his imperfections, because there are some scenes where, at least in the Telugu one, where Preeti is just like gazing at him, and as he in the Dadi ka room. While you talk, I'll look up for the clip for later. But when they're in Dadi's room later in the movie, in the midpoint, where he's like she's laughing at him because he's mad that the marriage is not working out as easily as he thought it would. So he's just mad, but she's just smiling at him and laughing. Oh, you're so cute. And she's like, oh, baby, yes, yes, yes. And that scene really shows him in front of the camera with his full cuteness or whatever. And the girl is laughing, but her side profile is showing. So it really looks like we're looking at Kabir from the point of view of this girl who thinks he's super cute. Whereas I think in the scenes in the movie where Kabir or Arjun are falling in love with Preeti, I don't think we gaze at Preeti like that. I think what we see is him going crazy for her. But I don't think we view her as this, uska face dikha diya aise, ya uski body dikha di, the way a lot of item songs or even Jug Jug Jio ka Rangisari show. I think Rangisari, for example, really objectified the actress. So actually that really is appropriate, because that is the same Kiara Dvani in that and this, right? So yeah, so I think that's my introductory thought, at least. There is definitely no male gaze. If any, there's some actually female gaze, which makes it very interesting, because you can really see Kabir Singh's kind of purity from the subject of his love, which is very interesting to see because it's a love story. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the gays of the movie?
Yeah, I think even Sandeep talks about this in an interview that even a movie like Sanju
Mm-hmm.
treats these things very differently from the way he is. Um, and like Sanju Mehta, I think they even show him to be like a player. And in this, like I think he refers to Sanju also, where he's like, Sanju Mein, that guy was a player. They said he slept with 100 women and he sab kuch tha, and that you gave like 5 stars. Why did you give this 3 stars?
Exactly.
Yeah. Um, I personally, I personally, I personally think beauty and aesthetics, and this is actually slightly informed by my like conversations I've had with my brother also. Beauty, aesthetics, I think they're important in movies and film. Um, so I'm not necessarily, I don't think that the Rangisari video is, I liked it. I think maybe it was objectifying both, maybe it was objectifying, I don't even know if objectification is the right word, but I'll say this, I liked it
Mm-hmm.
because I personally am quite curious of what we even find beautiful. And this is something I talk a lot with my brother about. And it's something he's also curious about. Finding something beautiful, there's a biological element to it, but like what exactly is beautiful? Why do we find certain things beautiful? Like I actually think it's like I'm very curious to explore it myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you are right that at least Kabir Singh, contrary to the criticism, um, it's yeah, there is no gaze. The gaze is the director's gaze or the story's gaze. It's
Mm-hmm.
not it's not like they are even in the kissing scenes. I think this is something he talks about also in the interview. That even in the kissing scenes, it's not that they're like trying to zoom into it in a pornographic or sexualized way, but
Yes.
it's shot in very different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you compare it to a movie like Befikre, Befikre मैंने देखी नहीं है, so I can't speak about it. If you compare
Mm-hmm.
it to most movies, like the kissing scene is shot differently. Now, I don't know if it's good different or bad different, but it is different than what people think. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's shot in a very neutral way. Um, वो तो है. Yeah.
Yeah. I think so I think the kissing stuff is like a another topic in the sense that there is a lot, like I think there's some effect of there being so much of the kissing, right? Like I think there is, like it's definitely operating in a different way than just kind of being like a way to show some kind of like sexual, like there's no sexual element to it. I feel like it really looks like he's really trying to show a physical manifestation of their love, and that's that. There is nothing like suggestive to the audience to kind of turn them on or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think it definitely operates in a different way, and I think the excess of the kissing is actually, it does something like that, there's some effect of that. I think इतना ज़्यादा दिखाने से actually
Yeah.
viewer को ऐसा लगता ही नहीं है कि ये कुछ supposed to, it's a very normal thing.
Yeah.
And I think that is what it is for them also, क्योंकि उनके लिए भी एक normal चीज है, वो इतना प्यार में है कि उनके लिए kissing कुछ इतना बड़ा है ही नहीं, मतलब वो ऐसे
Yeah.
ही लेकर. But I think in terms of the aspect of beauty, I think what we might be getting to is that I think the movie is kind of claiming that the love does not depend on the beauty of the person. So it's saying that this idea of love at first sight is not really arising from being super sexually attracted to the woman, you know?
Mhm.
And I know like a lot of people are like crazy fans of Kiara Advani and stuff. Like I was like when I saw this movie and people were like Kiara Advani is so hot in this movie, I was like, what? Like she's just a like girl. Like she's just another college student. Like she's not looking like she's this bomb or something at
Yeah.
all. Which I would argue she is in Rangisari. I think she's looking like a bomb in Rangisari.
Hmm.
But I think that might play into the way they're trying to make the movie, in the sense that they're trying to say that this love at first sight, where this character has decided to fall in love with this girl, I don't think the decision is even based on the beauty of her. I think there is something spiritual that he can't explain about why he's drawn to the girl. And I think that is the spiritual part of this movie, is that you can't explain away the love. And I don't like, for example, after you've seen all these hit movies of Kiara's after um, Kabir Singh, you can clearly see that you can do whatever makeup, costumes in a way that she can look like literally objectively hot, in the sense that actresses are made to look in films. And she's really not made up like that in this movie. Like, there is a deliberate choice to make her look like a normal person, like uh, uh, another medical student. And I think that is there to show that there is no element of him being drawn to her because he thinks she is hot. Like, there is something else. And I don't remember the Hindi wala, but Telugu mein to the music that plays is literally the tune is religious. Like, that tune is usually जो भजन MS सुब्बलक्ष्मी रिकॉर्ड करती थी, एकदम वो tune का music play होता है. मेरे को lyrics समझ नहीं आता, मेरे को पता नहीं कि lyrics कैसे हैं. But it is 100% a spiritual thing of why he falls in love with her. So I think the reason we are discussing the gaze and the gaze is important is because the movie says that the love that it's talking about is not reliant on a gaze. It's not reliant on being drawn to a person sexually. It's just reliant on you feeling something that you can't explain and then just going all for it. And also, a lot of people look at all these movies just by the love starts from like a sexual kind of notion of beauty of this person. Like, they start from legs and this and that. A lot of Telugu movies will, start from legs and stuff, and they'll show ki, oh, this girl is just hot, so I fell in love with her. I don't think this movie is showing that at all. I think this movie is really showing ki, this girl, I saw her and I fell in love with her. And oftentimes people use examples of this kind of movies, just mein pair dikha diya, tang dikha diya, ye dikha diya, wo dikha diya. And people look at those examples, but when they talk about love as an abstract concept, they're like, oh, it's the kind of care where you can't explain why you have it. So there is a dissonance there. You see, like, you literally base your notions of love from things where there is a gaze, but you think कि अगर मैं English में लिख के बोलूं, it's just something you can't explain. That doesn't make sense. Whereas Kabir Singh, it makes sense because Kabir Singh, there is no gaze. Like, the love is literally, you can't explain it, like, in reality. And someone who comes from that movie thinking about love is also going to say the same thing. I can't explain why I like you, bro. I just like you. And so I think it just tracks more to what people think love is, compared to other movies which show love like fully from a sexual kind of point of view.
Yeah.
And even like fucking like so many reality shows, yeah, like what Love Island or like whatever, or Too Hot to Handle or something. I've not seen any, but I've seen trailers to a lot of these shows, and all of these have people talking about love as if it's like a thing where it does, like, you just know it, you just feel it. But all of them are based on the premise that you are attracted to the other person.
Yeah.
And even like now, like one of our close friends and like a lot of generally our friends, whenever we talk to them about liking someone, what is the first thing they want to see? They want to see how attractive this person is. Even my relatives, when I was telling them I had a crush in high school, they would be like, okay, show me the picture, let me see how she looks.
Yeah.
That's so weird. Like, it's like, and I think that's why the Kabir Singh's love is so pure, because it's free of any gaze. It's not looking about attractiveness. It's just something you can't explain, but you feel it, and he decided to be in love with her. That's it.
Mm.
Why don't you react to that?
So I think, one second. Avi's, so there's this band I like called The Strokes, and they have a song in the first album called Soma, and Soma is a reference to a like a psychedelic, apparently psychedelic drug that existed in ancient India called Somras. And it's a reference that in the movie, in the book Brave New World, he steals the word Soma, but it's from Indian myth and or history. And there's a sentence in that which sort of captures it, what you've been saying. It says, when I saw her for the first time, lips moved as her eyes closed, heard something in his voice, and I'll be there, he says. then he walks out. Somehow he was trying too hard to be like them, and I am, stop. And then it goes into the song. But yeah. So that's a good song. But thoda sa the way he sings that part, where he's like, when I saw it for the first time, he does it is quite like the way you were describing the like somewhat religious, or like a moment that's like beyond the simply finding someone attractive lens. And like piche jo gana baj raha hai and all that, it's very different. Um and yeah, I have this question. Do you think Kabir Singh ने कुछ अलग दिखाया है इसमें, या सारी movies ऐसे ही दिखाती हैं love को? Like at least
I think
Bollywood
अलग
is
दिखाया है.
so romantic. I would think Bollywood में तो a lot of ऐसे ही दिखाते हैं love को, कि like पीछे गाने बज रहे हैं. Or do you think the type के गाने बज रहे हैं that also matters?
So I think that's I think a good question, because I think that's what my brother also said, that he was like, this isn't any other Bollywood movie where the love is just random. But I think that it is not the same as other Bollywood movies, because the key thing being that there is not a male gaze onto this woman when she steps into the frame. Because when she comes into college, he looks at her and he's falling in love with her. But if she is not shown to be like a sexy person, she's just another college student. And I think, I mean, there is this idea of, he kind of says to her face ki, tu sundar ladki hai, so you should be with like a fat chick or something. He says that, and he's like, that that goes well. So in that way, he does qualify, he thinks she's an attractive person. But when the scene of when he looks at her, I think is not the same as other Bollywood movies, even though it might appear so, because she's not being shown as a sexy person. Whereas I would argue that in a lot of Bollywood movies, they're not being shown to be. I mean, they are shown to be beautiful, but that beauty seems to be mostly derived from them being sexy. Um, and perhaps we can like maybe see a few scenes or something, but like generally, like there are ways to show them to be sexy, I think, uh compared to this kind of person who pura like she's fully like a normal person covered up, and like there's nothing, like you're not showing anything.
Yeah, can I ask a question?
Yeah. So that's why I think it's different. Whereas I think a lot of people will be like, oh, because the songs are so Bollywood, that means that this movie is also just showing a traditional Bollywood love at first sight. I don't think it's traditional. I think it's showing a new kind of.
But it is important for Kabir Singh to be sexy.
Yeah. So I think that's a related topic. Is that I think that Kabir and Arjun are super good looking, right? I mean, honestly, Kiara and Shalini, who is in the Telugu person, they're also very attractive. But my main thing is, I think it's important to think about what it would look like if the actor was not like conventionally attractive, right? Like Vijay is hot as fuck. Like anyone who watches Telugu movies, any girl, my cousins or my mom or like my people I know who speak Telugu, they're like, Vijay is just extremely hot. And I think Shahid is kind of hot. I don't know like how, I've not talked to girls about Shahid, but he seems, but I saw one Coffee with Karan episode where he was saying that the reason I'm successful is because girls think I'm hot. I mean, clearly I'm just saying all that to qualify that both of these are extremely good looking. I think it is important. I think because I think that would show the kind of dirt of our society, or like the cruelty of our society. Is I feel like if both of them were not conventionally attractive, then I feel like my hypothesis is that the criticism would be worse. The kind of idea of the guy being a predator would be magnified. Or maybe I'm accusing people of being like that. Maybe people are not like that. But I feel like attractive people would have been like, there is no reason for the girl to like this kind of aggressive guy if he's not even good looking. I can really see people saying that. And I think that would be a bad thing, right? Because then you would be saying only good looking people deserve to have their aggression rewarded. So yeah, I think it's important that they're good looking. What do you think?
I think it's very interesting what the dynamics are here. Like, if you have a by good looking, I mean less. I think what I mean is the director trying to make that character in terms of the dynamic be like the better looking one. Now, I mean, thoda sa we mean like, yeah, they're both attractive, but when we mean that, Kabir Singh, we basically mean they're putting more effort into making him seem like an attractive character physically. And that's thoda sa the director's choice that, he's making like everyone respects him. There are they only show that he has, another girl in his life. They don't show Kiara has another guy in his life. So thoda sa, and they show that he's like a high status guy. He's like popular in the college. That actress falls in love with him. So through those things also they show that the character is attractive. But in the
Mhm.
dynamic, if you have the guy is not attractive, and if the girl is attractive, you said that it could be more criticism. In this, one could say it's a little bit more balanced. It's I actually was just thinking I can't think of a single example where the guy is very, very attractive and the girl is very, very conventionally unattractive. There's maybe no movie I can think of that has that. You have the Beauty and the Beast.
Mhm.
You don't have uh the handsome and the whatever the female
Rich,
version of,
rich,
yeah, like
rich.
like that's less common, which is very interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, casting was definitely very interesting. Maybe यही सोच रहा था यार. I was थोड़ा, I don't know, at some point, yeah, here's what the question, I just remembered it. So, what exactly is the role of Bollywood then? So, if you look at media, right, it has many facets. You have the porn industry, which one can say their single role is it's like more about the aesthetics, although they have a lot of stories. It could be about storytelling. You have fashion magazines that care a lot about the clothes people wear and how they look. And then you have Bollywood that tries to say that, their thing is storytelling. Earlier, there was just one medium. You just like Charlie Chaplin or like old Bollywood, it was the only video available. Or maybe there was porn and fashion, but एक ही होता था. Ab now splinter हो गया. All of them have different purposes. If someone wants to look at a beautiful video of Shahid Kapoor or Kiara Advani, they can find it on the internet. Maybe they can find it on other films. So I'm kind of curious ki what then becomes the role of Bollywood. And I think in some way Kabir Singh gets at this because it's not trying to do anything that another director can do or another story can do. The thing
Mhm.
about Rangisari and a lot of these music videos in movies or background songs in Bollywood is that they take them away from the story and वो YouTube पे डाल देते हैं. YouTube पे they get 1 billion views or something, and then it becomes its own thing. It becomes its own way to generate revenue, and the songs sell individually. And there is this way in which even though the songs are beautiful, the videos of the songs are not beautiful in themselves. Shahid Kapoor and Kiara aren't going and dancing like Rangisari alag se. It's embedded in the story and
Mhm.
outside if you've not seen the movie, thoda sa, it it won't be as entertaining to watch as a standalone Rangisari. Like I've not seen Jug Jug Jio. I've seen Rangisari.
Mhm.
So I think thoda, if you look into the treatment of music in Kabir Singh, which I think is an important thing to like one of the things
Absolutely. Yeah.
Anurag Kashyap said one of the things Bollywood has is that we have music. And if we
Yeah.
think deeply about it, I think he's done a great job in using music.
But no, 100%. Yeah. And even Karan Johar has said this, like the way he used music is one of the big things for him about
E-
Vanga, he was saying. Yeah.
exactly. And I think he's done it like Anurag Kashyap in the sense it's very connected to the story. Story ke
Mhm.
bahar it doesn't serve a utility. I think the choices are very
It serves
interesting.
marketing. Like it serves like the music definitely helped them make a lot of like money because they can't like because the music was great and the album was famous. And I think that's interesting is that music by itself तो music की तरह ही लोग treat करते हैं, but if you release a music video before the movie and then you get like a fuck ton of views on that, then it actually operates beyond just being a marketing tool of, because it will impact how you think the movie is, because you'll think what Bekhayali means, and Bekhayali was the biggest hit, which is
Okay.
when he is like क्या कहते हैं वो मतलब दारू और भी लग जाता है वो.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because if that is the most famous song,
Yeah.
and you see in the video where he's gone, you see the trailer which is emphasizing him being fucked up, and then you watch the movie, you will be first of all be thrown off by the opening shot of him being like in the beach and having this light side to him. You will be like, ये कहाँ मेरे को तो लगा movie में वो गुस्सा होता है. And then all the gussa parts will get magnified and you'll be like, oh, that's what the movie is about. So I actually think people are mistaken when they think the movie is about him being an alcoholic and a stubborn person. The movie is actually about love, but it had to be marketed on these music videos and these trailers so that more people would be drawn. So I think it's interesting. I think they sold it as a negative thing, and then but they presented the product. It was not just about negativity. The product was really about love, and I don't think it goes across as that way. And I think and I think that is also somewhat related to the role of Bollywood, as you were asking, because it's like an author like Vanga uses all the negativity, or at least approves the people who made the trailer about negativity. He approves that so that he can get more people to watch it. Though his message is counter to what the marketing is really kind of trying to do.
Yeah.
So what is it? What is Bollywood trying to do? Like, is it just trying to make money, or is it actually trying to put out a serious story, or is it just trying to have these two ends and just straggling the thinking? We'll just find some spot in between commerce and having a point or having a point to make, and we'll just do whatever, you know.
My best guess is that it's the last one. It's that they don't have a clear value proposition anymore. Like they don't actually know what they're doing. It's kind of spread out. The teleology or the purpose or the value prop is lost.
What's teleology?
Teleology as in, let me look up the exact definition. Teleology is an interesting word. So teleology is the explanation of phenomena in terms of the purpose they serve rather than of the cause by which they arise. So
that is so interesting, right? That's exactly what we're saying, that it solves a different purpose than what the author is trying to do. But then the author is happy if he makes fucking 250 crores now, because that qualifies you as a person ki, yaar, actually I'm doing my job correctly. Because remember, even if you're an artist, a job is still done for money, you know, and you're still doing a job if you're making a T-series movie. So
I think the important thing is that it's thoda sa like the third thing that you're saying, that is just a mix. People don't know whether they're artists or whether they're business people or whether it's a mix, whether they're telling a story or they're getting people to see hot people dance. It's all mixed up. And one thing that Vanga and I think RGV do, and Anurag Kashyap they try to do, is that they try to say, especially these directors that are bigger personalities, they try to say that this is what I'm trying to do. They at least say, bhai, mera goal ye hai, this is what I'm trying to do. And I might fail at that goal, but they're kind of framing their own race in a certain way. And if you look at a lot of the incumbents, or like, for example, Sanjay Leela Bhansali, I vaguely remember him saying that he really, like, he really has a idea of beauty and idea of grandeur that he's trying to capture. So they, like, the only directors that work know what they're doing. And I think that's why like having a directorial voice is important. Like with Animal, all we knew about it before was he was like, I just want to like, he didn't say I just want to, but he said he planned on shocking the audience and showing how violent he get. I mean, that he's saying that I'm not trying to make a piece of art. I'm not trying to earn money. He said I'm trying to shock. So he can do all those things, but I really like how if you have a clear idea of what art is and you vocalize it, you kind of answer the question of what is even happening, and that can probably be very motivating. Like, if like he's kind of setting his own goal. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with this, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely aware of commerce, Vanga. But I think he's also aware of he's aware of this one goal he has, which is to be unique. I feel like he definitely wants to have his own kind of style, which is somewhat, I think, ego driven, somewhat also artist driven. Being an
Yeah.
artist, like, has a voice. So I think it's, whereas I don't particularly think Rajmouli is doing that. I think, for example, Rajmouli is just a curious guy who's just making movies based on what he is curious about. Like he was saying, कि RRR की story, he is really curious कि अगर दो freedom fighters मिले होते तो क्या होता. I was just drawn by that. I was very excited by it, so I made a story out of it.
Yeah.
So I think he is definitely more so of a um like he's not trying to be different. Whereas I feel like Wanga somewhat has this thing, I want to have a unique kind of movie because that's what I can do. And and the best thing is he still thinks about commerce, because someone was telling me, why would he make the Hindi remake if he was not thinking about money at all? He was like, he definitely, because or else he would have tried to do something different. But he basically did the same thing because he's like, this works, so let's just do it in the industry. So I think we have been a bit all over the place for this discussion, but I think the general idea is, I think that it's fairly chaotic for these for Bollywood's role. I think it's trying to, like, it is definitely enabled by these creators who have a particular voice, but it is also equally driven by the need to make money so that it's a lucrative enough business for these people to put in crores into making the movies. And what the result ends up happening is somewhere in middle. It operates as a cultural phenomenon. Thus people get influenced by it. But at the same time, it serves the kind of business interests of these big studios like T series and stuff. I will say, for example, for Jawan, though, I did not see any point that they were trying to make. Like, Jawan is like a full commercial movie. Like, they're not trying to do anything.
Mm.
Like, they're not trying to make any point, you
Mm.
know? So I think we can't just generalize it to Bollywood, but I would say that movies like Animal or Kabir Singh are probably trying to find that point between art and commerce somewhere. And
Yeah.
they're not just looking for money because people like Wang are at the helm, but at the same time, they're also not just looking for art because people like Gulshan or Bhushan Kumar are at the helm as well. So I
Yeah.
think these movies are interesting phenomena for our culture.
The good thing about Vanga is that his teleologies are clear. I think if you ask him why you made this, he will say reach. He will
Mm-hmm.
say, I wanted to reach more people.
Mm-hmm.
Say that a Hindi movie releases in Morocco and the reach matters. He will not
Mm-hmm.
say anything that is fake. I think he'll say it's reach. And in many ways that makes sense. Like Kabir Singh got all of Mumbai to see it, and now he can make Animal.
Mm-hmm.
Animal, has a broader reach. So I think the good thing about Sandeep being an outsider is that he does not mince his words and he's being quite honest, direct, and unadulterated with his speech and
Mm-hmm.
kind of saying how it is. And that's what put a lot of people off. Ki bhai, matlab, obviously, I don't have a specific example, but that's one of the benefits of him being from outside a film family or even outside Mumbai, is that he
Mm-hmm.
can kind of say things as they are. And because these things become very incestuous and close circles, they
Mm-hmm.
keep copying each other or they keep like I think Anurag Kashyap was once saying how the next generation of Bollywood actors, like the children, they've grown up on sets and they haven't lived life. So because
Mm-hmm.
this guy is coming from outside, he's kind of able to use clearer language to say कि हम exactly कर क्या रहे हैं, as opposed to थोड़ा सा not having any outside reference point. But
Yeah.
I think the next few things to discuss in this movie will be more specific scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, more specific scenes that stood out, because I think if you look at a scene and almost treat it like a short film, you can
Mm-hmm.
read a lot into it, even if the director didn't intend it. The director
Mm-hmm.
is just capturing life. But if you
Right.
read more into it, just like if you read into even a bad joke a comedian did that bombed, you can learn a lot about life from it. So we can maybe do a few more scenes. We can maybe try to get a few other perspectives on it. We can try to think of this, what it would look like if we were in India watching this, if we hadn't seen any Western movie. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for the next episodes.
Yeah, I think let's do some scene breakdowns later. I think that would be good. Like episodes just for one scene or something. Let's do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this was good. I think we kind of got to talk about the balance between art and commerce in Bollywood, or of this movie, male gaze, and then the importance of, or not importance, the relevance of these actors being super handsome and being conventionally attractive. Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Okay.
Okay. Bye.